Project 39 mini albums, and I want to show you what I made for this week's Sandy's 13 Frights Before Halloween 2022 collab. This is hosted by Sandy Trefgar, and I am joined by 10 other fabulous creators who are all making fabulous things for Halloween. So every Monday expect to get a couple of videos, 11 in total, on different Halloween projects. This week I made a small little mini album. I challenged myself to use leftovers from a old paper collection, and I had 13 pages, coincidentally. So I'll show you what I had, and then I'll show you what I made. So that is the stash that I had, and this is what I made. So it's a 4x6 mini album. I just used a couple of the cut aparts from the collection, and I added a couple of doilies. Wasn't sure if I was going to use the orange or the black, so I used both. It's just a very small mini album that you can put 4x3 or 3x3 or smaller photos in, and it's just a very simple page. This is a 3x4 cut apart, and it is a pocket page, and I ended up putting tags in each of the pockets. Each tag has a little bit of tulle with a ribbon tie on the top. So here is the next page, Trick or Treat. And again, these were just part of what I had in my stash, and I wanted to use it all up. So this is Booze and Brews. It's sort of a mad scientist kind of theme, and they even had this periodic table of the elements in there, and I just thought that deserved to have its own little cut apart because it's so adorable. Spooktacular with some of the brews that were happening. There is another tag, and I just used tags to put inside these pocket pages. It's a very, very simple mini album. It wouldn't take you very long to finish it, and I challenged myself to use everything and to see how long it was going to take me. And so you can find out. I am putting the tutorial next, so here we go. All right, now here's the papers that I used. I used a piece of cardstock that is 5.5 by 8.5, and that was for my hinge. I had 5 pieces that are 1.5 inches by 4 3/4. Those are going to be little pockets. And then the pages themselves, and you need 5 of these, and that is 5.5 by 7.5. Now I already have a cover in my stash. It's 4x6, and the spine is 2 inches. So that's 2x6. I already keep these in my stash. When I don't feel inspired, I go ahead and make several of these. Now it may or may not work for a project, and I've had this for a while. And why I made it with a 2-inch spine, I don't know. Don't know what I was thinking, but it worked for this project. There was lots of room to add photos. So you need 2 pieces of chipboard that are 4x6 and a piece that is 2x6. So again, I make them up ahead of time, and you'll see other videos in my channel where I've made the covers. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and take our scoreboard and our piece for the hinge system and start scoring. Now I mess up on this as I go, so I'm going to put the measurements in the description box below as opposed to right here, because it's one of those things, do as I say, not as I do. Okay, now I'm going to grab my paper, and where my 1/2 inch hinges are, I'm going to fold in the center of those 2 1/2 inch pieces. So there will be 5 times that I fold. So now that that's all folded, what I'm going to do is, and I've done this in other videos, but I will pull those together, and then I'll add glue to the center of those pieces and pinch it together so that will create a hinge. So I'll do another one, add the glue, and then I put it right side up and squeeze where that hinge is all the way across so that glue will hold. And then here I'll go ahead and put the glue in 3 of the hinges and glue it together, and we'll be done with that part. Okay, so I'll go ahead and squeeze those together. Obviously it doesn't go as fast as this looks. And burnish with my bone folder a couple of times and then add it to the center of my book. I'm going to leave a little bit of room left on the top because I'm going to possibly add something in the pocket pages that I'm going to make. And then to burnish this down, I just use my fingers and I start sort of in the center and push in that channel. It's the gusset, so I'll push and then push one to the right, and then push all of the hinges to the right, and then push the one to the left, and then go and consecutively go to the outside gussets and hinges and burnish with my finger, clean up glue as I can do that, and just push it all down so those hinges are adhered. And I use my finger because with some paper, you'll see a mark on it if you use a bone folder, even though I've got the no stick bone folder. So I just use my finger. It just seems to be easier. That's what I'm doing these days, at least. And I'll make sure that my glue is all adhered, and then I will put it aside and let it dry. All right, now I'm going to grab the pages, and it's pretty simple. All we're going to do is score in the middle. So it was a 7.5. So I want you to score all of these pages at 3 3/4. That's all there is to the pages. See, it couldn't be any easier. The way we put them in the book is how it creates a pocket. But we'll go ahead and do that to these pages. And then also, I'll show you what to do with the little pieces we have for the tiny pockets. We're going to put the long side at the top and score at 1/2 inch and rotate, score at 1/2 inch. This is 1.5 inches wide, so you don't have very much. And rotate again and score at 1/2 inch. And then I'll grab my scissors and miter at the top. And then you see where there's an X created by the 2 score lines, just cut right across to the center of that X. And that is how we make the pocket. I'm sure you've seen this 1,000 times before. And I'll go ahead and fold this down and burnish with my bone folder on the long side and then the 2 short sides. I was trying to move my cursor, it wouldn't move. And then we're going to add them to the pockets, but I'm going to wait till I get the book all put together and decide if I'm going to have it on the front of the pages or the back of the pages. So now I'll just take these pages and burnish on those fold lines, making sure that the top and bottom are even. You don't want to fold it wonky. Things can get away with you if you don't pay attention to it. So we'll just simply fold these. I mean, it's an easy page. Easy. I like easy. So we'll go ahead and burnish this last one and then grab the book and see if everything's dry. I'm going to take the blunt point of my bone folder and crease it where the front page meets the spine, and then burnish on that. And then the back one was a really short piece, and then I realized I probably don't have enough glue in here, so I'm burnishing and folding, and then when I open it up I see that one piece is sticking up. Yep, I put it upside down, but that's okay. So I see that one piece is sticking up here, and I'm just going to add some glue and make sure that it sticks to the back, inside back cover. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Add the extra glue onto the page, it'll dry. All right, now I'm going to take, I'm looking to see if I need to add a piece of paper to it, but it's dry, it's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this page that's folded, put glue on the far left side of the page, add it to that hinge, and then add glue on top of the hinge and on the bottom of the page and glue it in. So then there's room at the top, you can use a pocket, and that's all there is to it. Simple. So let's go ahead and grab some glue and start adhering the pages. So I put in glue on the, maybe 1/4 inch in on the left hand side of that paper, fold over the hinge. I don't want it to be completely flat up against it, so I fold it over and pull it up a little bit, making sure that the bottom of the page is parallel to the bottom of the book. And then I'll add some glue onto this hinge and on the bottom and fold the page over. After I'm all done, I'll go ahead and burnish with my bone folder, but that's all there is to it. Okay, and then I'm going to go in fast motion to get the rest of the pages in. Just make sure they're in even and even with the first page. And I always start at the back of the mini album and go towards the front. So simple to do. And then let's move on to the pockets. So I look at my book and I decide, oh, I'm burnishing everything here. But I decide that I want the pockets to go on the front of the pages. So I'm just going to, oh, there was writing on that one page and I didn't care that it was in the middle, but I wanted to erase it on the side. So I'm going to add glue to that bottom flap and add that onto the page, making sure it's even with the page, and then I'll go ahead and glue those 2 side flaps. Now the paper I've cut for this will go all the way down, but let me show you what to do if your paper is a little short. I mean, these are teeny pockets, but sometimes that happens. So you'll just add glue to the bottom, and I always make sure it's staying to the right of the page. You don't want it to go too close to the hinge. Okay, I'm going to grab a piece of tape and just tape this up. Yeah, I have to look really close and you see my head. And then add glue to those 2 side flaps. And again, if you have not a full piece of paper, using that tape will help make sure things slide in. So I'm going to go ahead and finish taping up or gluing up these pockets. Okay, that last pocket is on, so we're done with that. Now let's move on to adding the papers. Now I've already cut the papers. You'll need 4 pieces, well, actually 3. I added an extra mat for the front, but the page sizes you'll need 3 pieces that are 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 for the front. And you'll need, for the inside pages, you'll need 10 pieces that are 5 3/8 by 3 5/8. So here, 5 3/4 by 3 3/4, and 5 3/8 by 3 5/8 for the inside pieces. You'll notice I made a couple of mistakes, so I went back and trimmed some of these pages. Now, of course, I sped this up because I'm just gluing paper. It's pretty boring. But just add glue, slip it in, and we're done. I also added, as I said, I matted the front cover I was looking to see what date. This paper was made 2014, so I've had it for a while. Here's one of the last pages. Now I'll do the inside last page and the inside back cover. I wasn't sure which paper I would use here because I liked them both, but I ended up sticking with the plaid just because it's colorful and pretty. And if you put a photo on it, it would be neat. Then I'll go ahead and add the papers to the pockets. I try to figure out which one before I glue it. Once I decide which one, then I put it in the pocket. But now I only have 3 left and I know which ones I'm going to glue. So I go ahead and put the glue on and look through my scraps and see what else I've got, see if there's anything else I want to do. I end up making the tags for the hidden pocket pages with some of those scraps. And so here I'm putting in my little cut aparts that are left over just to decide which ones I'm going to use. And I decide before I'm done with the book, and you saw through the walkthrough, I did end up putting them on a piece of cardstock. Alright, so this is what I have chosen for the front cover. I have a piece of bright green cardstock, and I'm taking that purple paper and putting it on the cardstock. And I've got an orange and a black doily, a mini doily. They're from Doodlebug. And I'm trying to figure out which I'm going to put on first. And here is what's left of that paper pad. You see I don't have very many scraps, maybe enough to make a card or two. And then there's the mini album. So that is what I made with my leftover paper from Doodlebug's Booze and Brews collection for our Sandy's 13 Frights Before Halloween 2022. Thanks so much for joining along. Have a fabulous day.